This is my first attempt at printing the V-tails, and you can see these two parts are loose. Actually, that one is too, one of each of the parts. It only printed up to that level before it came loose from the build plate, and I just stopped it. I just don't want to waste stuff. Usually, if it comes loose this low, by the time you get up high in the build, you're just going to be all to pieces. So you can see this was what the original settings. I think it really prints good. I like this lightweight PLA. I like the print files. There's nothing about it I don't like. Maybe my experience. And you can see I pulled these pieces as an example of each of them off the surface, and they're just, in my opinion, really, really nice. I just couldn't trust them to get up full height. That's the bottom of a V-tail. This is the beginning of the top of a V-tail. Cleaned up well. This would eventually go up on top here. And then the control surface, and this is one you've already seen. I think it's a killer print myself. This one just failed because of height. And that was back last Thursday or so when I was getting input every day on different things I could try to help the printing. I was finding things myself, but I had not yet just said the heck with it and deleted everything off the computer, reinstalled it, started with defaults, went through it, just making sure everything was correct. So there's the first little attempt at V-tails and why I stopped that attempt. This is the second attempt at that same print. This is when I had read that the retraction needed to be changed, and I played with that. I got frustrated Thursday night with the video files trying to explain all this to people, and I just deleted it all. So I don't have the videos of this coming off the bed that I should have, because there was string everywhere. It was absolutely insane. But I let it print to the end, even though I found a problem in my setup on Cura where one of my parts was slightly down in the bed and wouldn't have printed to the height that it needed to. But you can kind of see right in here what's shutting down that retract, moving it from 5mm to 3 and changing the retract speed. This is what happened. I let it print to the end just to see what I had. Now, if you break these pieces off, and I don't really want to do it here anymore, if you break these pieces off the support and start working with this stuff that's on it, this is just support on this side, has nothing to do with it, the rest of it. The stuff that's on the surface, it really comes off rather easily. I'm not sure what it is. I think it may be just fine filament blowing around in the air that just touches other pieces of the same stuff and creates that. I don't think it hurts the print. But you can see my table's getting all junked out again. That's why I didn't want to do much with it. It comes off rather easily and would sand off rather easily. And then there's a good print there. Towards that, here's one I had worked with a little bit, cleaning up. A little support down through there. Again, the PLA is killer, in my humble opinion. The print is killer. It's just my skills at applying it. And see, this piece really cleaned up quite well. I really haven't worked to get all of that off of there. And you can see real quick, oops, See, it cleans up real quick and easy. So, even with the retraction problem doing all this, I still thought it was pretty good. But that's when this one came off, was when started getting all that input and wondering about this, that, and the other on settings, and developed into that Friday and Saturday, just taking everything off the computer and starting over. While I'm here, I've just test fitted a servo into this servo hole, and it looks like it's going to work fine. It's nice and tight, just a dab of hot glue, and that will be where it needs to be. The only thing I see about this that presents a problem to me is the wire. There's no channel for the wire or anything. And it's not the V-tail that worries me, it's the fuselage. When I put it through the fuselage, it'll be going through, let's say, this will be like here. Maybe I can get it through where these two pieces meet right there. Because my worry was this, that with, let's see, what piece am I looking for? I think it's this one. With this, like this, is where it goes. If I put a hole in the fuselage anywhere here to run that wire through, then I worry about wind getting in and tearing this and starting to make the hole bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Guess I could run it through this hole. Look ugly, but guess I could. We'll see what happens here, because I haven't quite figured that out. Normally it wouldn't be a problem, but the way this is built with the two walls and stuff, I just worry that any hole created in it would be ripped more and more and more and more by wind during the flight. Now the control surfaces have been unique all to themselves. They print well, print fast, clean up pretty good. They just have a strength or a weakness in this direction that's worrying. Now, more to do with how brilliant this design is, in my humble opinion. The hole right here goes all the way through. That's for mounting this in the V-tail. If these two pieces were glued together, this one's actually broken, then the V-tail control surface mounts here. But the way it does so is that little 2mm rod goes up through this hole, comes out that hole, goes into this hole on the control surface, comes out that hole on the control surface, and then goes up and into the hole that's right there. Whoops. The hole that's right there in the V-tail. So that rod goes all the way up through here and goes all the way through the leading edge of this control surfaces. And that takes care of any strength in this direction that we're worried about. Now I'm probably going to set this aside for a strength test, because that was the second print, and I stopped that because of all the, oh no, I let that finish to the end, but I knew I wasn't going to use it because of just the way it looked with all the stringing on the retraction change. So I started the print again. This is the third print of the V-tails. Yeah, you guys didn't know all this went on, did you? There was a lot went on. This was printed with the retraction set back the way it was supposed to be. Well, no. It's supposed to be at 3, not 5 that I've got it at. But 5 I've got it at seems to work better for me. So this was in the time also put the retraction back to 5 like it was supposed to be for this print. But this is when I started looking at the layer. And I moved it from 0.1 to 0.3 and printed this with 5mm retraction, so there wasn't as much stringing and stuff, and 0.3 per layer. So this one came out better in a way, but you see where there's all those splits in the layers and stuff on this particular one. It doesn't show much in this one, but it caused a problem right there to start with. It just was broke when it come off the build surface, or I might have broke it, taken it off the build surface and didn't notice it. That's not such a big problem. I probably could have a line of glue put down it and be fine and be workable. But overall, the 0.3 started showing up and stuff like this, just like it does in the other prints. Just didn't feel as strong, etc., as when I used, you can see some of it right in here, the 0.1. But there's over a doubling of print time. Now the problem was really apparent in these control surfaces. Oops, I just broke that one. Wasn't trying to. At the 0.3 strength in this axis, which is not needed because we're going to put a carbon fiber rod down this whole section, and it'll never be pulled on like that in normal usage. But you can see this one, just even getting it off the build surface and stuff, it broke in 2 places. Printing it at 0.3 for this control surface just really was too weak. And I think, well, until I broke that one right there, I thought I had enough of them around here that were printed in the different layer heights to just set up a little slump test around here and test them. But just trust me, the ones printed at 0.3 aren't as strong as the ones printed at 0.2, and the ones printed at 0.2 aren't as strong as the ones printed at 0.1. They just aren't. But as long as you're careful with these, keep them on a flat surface like this without breaking any of the layers, sand them up, trim them down, get them ready to be put in. Once you get that rod through there, I don't think you'll ever have any more trouble with them. It's just getting it to that point might break them. And yes, there was yet another print. It was just the control surfaces. This was after Friday and Saturday's flail. I just wanted to see how one printed the way I was originally printing it. Came off the bed, and you see this is 0.1. This is everything I was doing before I started all that playing around. I can tell you from feel, even in this direction, this is stronger. Once I get a carbon fiber rod through that hole and in the 2 pieces of the V-tail, it's going to be fine. So this was where I was kind of looking back after playing with the 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 layer height and playing with the retraction, and finally printed this out basically back like I had printed it before. A little strange line in it right there. But that happens with PLA. There's a little breeze of air could come by and just cause it to cool faster for a second while it's moving through that line. I don't have an enclosure on it, so you cannot put any of the problems I have on the PLA product. It is great. It's little differences in my printer from other printers, and one of the biggest one is enclosure. I am not temperature controlled, believe me. So that's what's been going on behind the scenes with all the printing of V-tails. There was several printings I didn't speak to you about, and I just wanted to catch up on all this. I'm almost at the point of just going back to the way I was doing it originally. It seems to print a better print when people come in and say, gee, you know, you're taking a day and a half to print what I can print in 6 hours. Yeah, I know. I can tell you why. It's because of my layer height. It's because of my print speed. It's mine. So I think after last night's experiment, I'm going to just proceed back the way I was. Not exactly the settings, but next print we'll look at the settings that I'll be using from then on again going forward. Just wanted to catch you up on what did go on, because the last time you guys saw anything before yesterday, it was like last Wednesday or Thursday, and I was saying, okay, there's the V-tails starting to print. I'll let you know when they finish. Letting you know when they finish has never happened yet because I don't have a finished set of V-tails yet. I also don't have a spool of filament today. I ordered from a different vendor today that's supposed to be here tomorrow, but canceled the order on the other vendor who was supposed to have me a spool here Sunday, and it didn't happen. It didn't happen yesterday. Today's Tuesday. I have some small parts to print, but I don't have enough filament to trust that I can print any larger parts without running out of filament. So I'm not going to start another wing section. Aside from the V-tails, I've just got like 5 sections of wing, and then I've got everything printed the first time. Some of the parts I might want to reprint because of cosmetics, but it's going to let me at least start to fit this thing together and see what's going on. Last night I put some more of the carbon fiber rods in that wing piece that I didn't show you when I was showing you the wing piece yesterday. I was starting to figure out where the carbon fiber rods go and how they work and everything. So there's just a little more of the fuselage part where the carbon fiber rods go through the wing parts. And you didn't see these 2 carbon fiber rods yesterday. All right, that should catch everybody up to present. I've got some things to do today. One of my flying friends wants to fly tomorrow and Thursday, so we're trying to set up for that, weather permitting. I am right now printing a single V-tail piece. I'm not going to try to put them all on the same build print at this time. I'm trying to print them singly so I can get the V-tails worked out. They're just a little smaller than the rest and a little more sensitive to anything that's going on. So I'm just taking some care with them. Plus, with so little filament on hand, I think I can get through a couple of prints of the small pieces and use up what filament I've got here, and hopefully more will arrive tomorrow and we'll just proceed. Thank you guys.